I don't hate you, I pity you. You were so desperate for his love that you sacrificed everything. For what? A man who never truly cared about you? Marissa returns as a millionaire to seek revenge on the man who secretly married her, only to discover his twisted secrets could shatter everything she thought she knew. But was she the only one betrayed? Or is there a truth more devastating than his lies? But we start the video. Let us know where you're watching this video, and if you like this story, don't forget to subscribe, Story Store, and please share your thoughts about this story in comment section. The whispers and clinking glasses filled the air, but Marissa only heard the pounding of her own heart as she watched Ryan, her secret husband, marry her sister Natalie. Hidden in the shadows, she saw the man who had once promised to love her stand before her sister, smiling as if he'd never loved anyone else. The weight of betrayal crushed her as he turned briefly to meet her gaze, his eyes soft with something she couldn't define. But then he looked away, sealing the pain of her shattered heart. The ceremony blurred by. Vows, rings, a kiss, each moment a mockery of the future they'd once planned. As the final words were spoken, Marissa couldn't bear to stay. She left, vowing never to return. 5 years passed, and Marissa emerged stronger, wealthier, and ready for revenge. She had built her empire, and now she was back. Not for Ryan's love, but to reclaim what was stolen. This time, there would be no turning back. The mansion's door slammed shut, sending a reverberating shock through the grand hall. Marissa, standing at the top of the staircase, gripped the banister tightly, her pulse pounding. After 5 years, she was back, and this time, it wasn't for reconciliation, it was for revenge. Ryan entered, storming through the foyer, his anger thick in the air. The man who had once been everything to her, the man she secretly married and who betrayed her with her sister Natalie. He had everything, but he had taken everything from her too. Marissa! His voice echoed with desperation, cutting through the tension. She could feel the weight of his unspoken apologies, but it didn't matter. Not anymore. Her heart ached, but she masked it with icy resolve. She had spent years rebuilding herself, and now she would make him pay. With deliberate steps, she descended the stairs. "I've come to take what's mine," she said, her voice steady. Ryan flinched, and Marissa's gaze darkened. "Don't act like I'll forgive you. You chose her over me, and you'll regret that decision." Before he could respond, Marissa's eyes found Natalie in the doorway. "You won't take anything more from me," she said coldly before stepping out, leaving them both behind. Marissa stood in the stillness of her penthouse, overlooking the city skyline. The quiet outside starkly contrasted the chaos of emotions brewing inside her. She had worked tirelessly to build everything she had. Her empire, her wealth, her independence. All of it was hers. No one had handed it to her. But it wasn't enough. She wanted more. Not just success, but to see Ryan and Natalie crumble under the weight of their betrayal. They had taken her love, her family. Now, it was time to take everything back. Her thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door. Rachel, her assistant, stood there holding an envelope. Marissa's eyes narrowed at the sight of it. "It's from Ryan," Rachel said cautiously. Marissa took the letter, knowing exactly what it contained. More of Ryan's desperation. He was still trying to win her back, still clinging to the past. She opened the letter without hesitation. The words were familiar, hollow pleas, but they meant nothing to her now. She wasn't the same woman who had once believed his promises. With a cold smile, she tossed the letter aside. Ryan was nothing but a pawn in her game now. She would get her revenge and nothing would stop her. Marissa paced her penthouse, her mind racing. The city lights below were a blur, matching the storm of thoughts swirling in her head. She had come back for one thing: revenge. And she wasn't going to stop until she had it all. Rachel knocked on her door again, urgency in her tone. "Marissa, Ryan's been trying to reach you. He's offering a meeting to discuss things, to fix the past." Marissa didn't flinch. "No," she said coldly. "We're not meeting." Rachel hesitated. "But aren't you curious? What if—" Marissa interrupted, her voice sharp. "He had his chance. He chose Natalie. He's a fool if he thinks I'll ever fall for his lies again." Rachel nodded, understanding the weight of Marissa's resolve, and left to deliver the message. But as Marissa sat back at her desk, a message popped up on her phone. "I know what you're planning, and I want to help." She froze, intrigued. The message was from an unknown number, but the sender seemed to know exactly what she was about to do. "Meet me tomorrow at 3 p.m. Elm Street. I can help you take him down." Marissa smiled coldly. Her plan was moving faster than she expected. Marissa's heels echoed through the abandoned building as she approached the meeting spot. Dust floated in the air, illuminated by the faint light streaming through broken windows. A figure emerged from the shadows, his face partially hidden beneath a hood. His presence was imposing, his stance confident. "You're on time," he stated, his voice calm and cold. Marissa crossed her arms, maintaining her composure. "I don't do business with strangers." The man chuckled. "We're not strangers. You want revenge, and I can help you get it. I know all of Ryan's secrets, everything he's kept from you." Her heartbeat quickened, but she kept her expression neutral. "What do you want in return?" He leaned closer, his eyes glinting with intensity. "You ruin Ryan and Natalie. I'll provide the information you need to destroy them. In return, I want to see him fall, hard." Marissa hesitated for only a moment before extending her hand. "Deal." Their handshake was brief, but the weight of the decision hung heavy. She was in deep now, with no turning back. She'd bring Ryan to his knees, and she would enjoy every moment of it. Marissa moved with purpose, her plan taking shape. Victor's information was gold, evidence of Ryan's shady dealings, fraudulent contracts, and scandals waiting to explode. She spent days piecing together every detail, preparing for the perfect moment to strike. But the deeper she dug, the more she discovered about Ryan's personal life. His marriage to Natalie was crumbling. Behind their picture-perfect facade, cracks were spreading rapidly. Natalie was losing her grip, struggling to maintain her role as the perfect wife. Seizing the opportunity, Marissa confronted Ryan at his office, her voice cold and cutting. "Your empire is built on lies. It's only a matter of time before it all collapses." Ryan's eyes widened, fear flickering before he masked it with arrogance. "You think you can bring me down?" Marissa's smile was sharp. "I don't need to. The truth will do it for me." She left him standing there, shaken and vulnerable. That night, the first scandal broke. News of his fraudulent business deal. It spread like wildfire, leaving his reputation in tatters. Marissa watched it unfold, satisfaction warming her heart. This was only the beginning. Marissa attended the charity event, her entrance commanding attention. Heads turned as she walked through the grand hall, her confidence unshakable. She approached Ryan and Natalie, her eyes narrowing at the cracks in their perfect image. Ryan's smile was forced, his demeanor tense. "Marissa, glad you could join us." Her gaze shifted to Natalie, who looked exhausted, her face pale and drawn. "You don't look well, Natalie. Everything all right?" Natalie's lips twitched into a weak smile. "Just tired. It's been a long week." Marissa feigned concern. "I can imagine. Must be difficult keeping up appearances." Her words were laced with double meaning. her satisfaction growing as Natalie's eyes darkened with unease. Ryan's jaw tightened, his hands clenching. He knew his life was unraveling, and Marissa was relishing every second of it. As the night wore on, whispers filled the room, rumors about Ryan's scandal. Marissa watched as Natalie's composure cracked, her world collapsing around her. Marissa's heart flickered with sympathy, but she quickly buried it. This was justice, this was revenge, and she was just getting started. Marissa's entrance at the charity event was a calculated move, and she relished the effect it had. Whispers followed her, curiosity sparking in every gaze. But the real victory lay in the tension between Ryan and Natalie. Their practiced smiles faltered, revealing the cracks beneath. Ryan moved through the crowd with forced charm, his eyes darting to Marissa more than once. He was losing his grip, and he knew it. Natalie stood among a circle of sympathizers, her confidence visibly shaken. Marissa noted the way Natalie's laughter sounded hollow, the way she clutched her glass a little too tightly. The perfect couple was crumbling, and Marissa was content to watch. She wasn't here for revenge anymore. That desire had burned out, replaced by the cold satisfaction of watching her enemies unravel. She watched Ryan's facade fracture, his mask slipping with every glance he threw her way. He was scared. They both were. And Marissa reveled in it. She didn't need to do anything more. Their own lies were destroying them. And as she stood at the edge of the room, Marissa knew she had already won.